Hey everybody, Alex here, back with another Out of the Park 21 video focusing on the Pittsburgh Pirates, Episode 3. We are at the draft June 4th, 2020, and as you can see, the Pittsburgh Pirates are even at 30-30 on the season. We just went through a really terrible losing streak. I think we were 29-22, and we just went on the worst streak where the offense couldn't do anything, and after a really good win streak here, it all kind of just went in reverse towards the end of May. So I want to do a quick recap where the team is at, and then we'll go ahead and draft today. So to start things off, let's check out the lineups and how the offense is doing. Fortunately, the offense is not doing really any better than we looked at last time at the start of May. Jacob Stallings, though, continues to be a very pleasant surprise, hitting .291, .339 on-base percentage with 3 home runs, 19 RBIs, 11 doubles. So cannot be mad about that production. He's actually thrown guys out, I think, at a pretty decent clip. He threw out Billy Hamilton in the one game that I played. Yeah, 40% of runners caught stealing. So really happy overall with Stallings. Is he punching above his weight? Probably a little bit, but we're have a decent sample size at this point, and he's been impressive. Fortunately, you cannot say the same about Josh Bell, who continues to struggle, hitting .203, just 4 home runs this season, still getting on base at a decent clip. I have moved around the lineup a little bit. I tried to put him in the 5-hole, because that seems to be where he's hitting best, as you can kind of see here in the splits. He is hitting .274, batting 5th compared to .083 at 3rd and .240 4th. So trying to figure out how to get this guy to turn things around. I mean, we went from just a bad start to a really horrible slump to begin the season. I tried to sit him for certain games, tried to give him a rest, and nothing really seems to work. Adam Frazier just come off the DL after suffering, I believe, a quad strain. Has come back and done okay. So not a whole lot of an update on his stats, but did have a home run in this past game and hitting .312 on the season. So nice to have him back in the lineup. Colin Moran, again, defensively still nervous with, but still swinging a hot bat. .328, .371, 4 home runs with 22 RBIs and 12 doubles, 1.4 WAR. So happy with the bat that he's providing. JT Riddle continues to impress with a really solid season, unexpected in a good way. .271, .313 on-base percentage, 5 home runs is also a surprise. Not a lot of power on this team, so he's up there actually in terms of power numbers, especially the way that Bell is slumping. Brian Reynolds, he's bounced back. He kind of wasn't doing quite as well in that last video we had, kind of broke out in that Yankees game. And by the way, Garrett Cole, who was injured in that game, is going to be out here for a couple months. We'll check on him here in a second. But Reynolds hitting .278, .340, so really strong numbers here. I'm really impressed with the bounce back for Brian Reynolds after a cold start. Jared Dyson, he's kind of been platooning a little bit, hasn't been playing quite as much lately, but still playing the majority of the time. Okay numbers, like we've had him bottom of the order, that's kind of where he's done best, .234, .336, getting on base at a decent clip, stealing bases, 10 stolen bases, and again, batting leadoff, he was really struggling, so we put him down the order, and he's responded in a pretty positive way. Yeah, batting leadoff, hitting .196, batting 7th, hitting .300 with a .370 on-base percentage. Why is he doing better at the bottom lineup? I couldn't quite tell you, but nonetheless, that seems to kind of done the trick with Jared Dyson, and Gregory Blanco continues to annoy the heck out of me. I put him on the block. I don't have any offers for him, and with good reason, because who wants to trade for a guy with that kind of contract through 2023, hitting .198 and on-base percentage of below .300. I guess a little bit of power relative to our team here with not a lot of power bats on this club, but he's someone that I'd like to probably move on from sooner rather than later. With the backups, Luke Melee, still pretty terrible. 134 is about as bad as it gets for somebody with his sample size. Not the biggest sample size as a backup rotational catcher, especially with Stallings doing well, but still, that's really hard to do, to hit that poorly. Kevin Newman has been excellent. He's now platooning. He was starting when Frazier went out. It's been doing awesome. The on-base percentage has come down a little bit. Recent slump here, as you can kind of see in recent games, but he's still been really strong. .272, 5 home runs. So I'm trying to find ways to get him in the lineup, get him as many starts as possible. He's getting work at short, getting work at second. So good stuff there. Eric Gonzalez, who we criticized really heavily, he was hitting like 094 or 0.7. I mean, I don't know what it was, 070 in that last video, but he's kind of finally turned things around, and actually in May at least had a really strong month. And we'll look at these numbers here. Yeah, hit 345 in May after 067 in March, 118 in April. So April showers brought May flowers for Eric Gonzalez, I guess. So I don't know how long it'll last, but at least he's kind of turned things around. And I think we have some other guys here. Kevin Kramer, 203, 299. I might send him down to AAA and just let him get consistent play time down there. I'm not quite sure yet, but haven't really seen a whole lot from Kevin Kramer. And I believe that is the offense. So we can look out. Herrera, excuse me. One last guy I do want to look at here. He continues to do really well. Really impressive surprise here. 284, 384. Not going to provide a whole lot of pop. 2 home runs, 7 extra base hits essentially, but has been getting on base at a good clip. Good strikeout to walk ratio. Happy with that. And overall, just impressed with what he saw. He's actually played a lot more because Polanco has struggled very mightily. So that is the offense. We'll jump over to the pitching and see what they're doing. Pitching overall, I think, has been the strength of the team. The offense has certainly struggled more than the pitching staff. Joe Musgrove continues to be our ace. 3-3 with a 3.09 ERA. 66 strikeouts here in 75 innings. Nothing super eye-popping, but the BABIP's pretty low. I'm just happy with his numbers across the board, and he's been successful in almost all of his starts. Mitch Keller, unfortunately, big adventure with Mitch Keller. Remember, I think the last time he was hurt with a groin injury. I think I brought him back. In his first start back, he lasted an inning and a third, had a tired arm. This was the start here against St. Louis, so I think I brought him back too early. Went back to the DL, took a rehab start. So he hasn't yet to actually appear since coming off his rehab assignment, his brief one. He'll start soon here for the Pirates, but really just no sample size because the guy, unfortunately, has been nagged by these minor injuries. Chris Stratton has filled in really admirably as a bullpen guy. Starter really ended up starting a lot because the injury struck pretty early. So the ERA lately has come up a little bit, but still 4.14 for a guy I thought would just be long relief. I'm pretty impressed with. Trevor Williams has been just awesome. Really, really effective. I played this game against the Reds, and he went 8 strong in that one, so I was really impressed. Just consistently effective. 9 innings against the Giants, so 3.08 ERA. Again, efficient. I mean, the strikeouts are low, 5.8, but not allowing a lot of home runs. The whip is pretty good. Not walking many guys, so I think he can maybe be this consistent. I mean, that'd be awesome. He'll probably come up a little bit in his numbers, not be this good, but I've been extremely happy with Trevor Williams. And Chad Kuhl, same boat with him, even better. 2.71 ERA in 10 games started. Again, strikeouts are low. The stuff isn't great, but he's been efficient, he's been effective, and I've been really impressed with Chad Kuhl. One guy you didn't see who's just got hurt, very unfortunate, Chris Archer, tore a labrum. He just happened on May 30th, so he's not out 6 weeks. He, again, was doing pretty well. Strikeout numbers, he's more of a power pitcher. Were excellent, but he's going to be a loss. But now at least Mitch Keller's back in the rotation, and Stratton's holding down the fort, so I guess we'll have to live with it. To go to the bullpen now, and that'll start with closer Nick Burdi. Again, I think he was starting to turn the corner in that last video after a really tough start. Continues to do well. 2.38 ERA, 11 saves, 26 strikeouts in 22 and 2/3 innings. So happy with Nick Burdi. Kela has been good as well. 3.13 ERA, 26 strikeouts, 23 innings. Maybe allow a couple more home runs than you'd like to see. But overall, hopefully he'll be trade bait if things go sideways by the time the deadline rolls around. Amir Garrett has been decent. Remember, he had gone off to a rocky start with Pittsburgh. But he's now at 3.6 ERA in 12 games. Only 10 innings pitched so far, but the strikeout numbers, we brought him here for 13 Ks in 10 innings. So good stuff there. Richard Rodriguez is it really hasn't pitched a whole lot, to be honest. There have been long stretches where he hasn't pitched. I guess he's kind of come back a little bit lately. But 21 innings, 2.95 ERA, and yeah, just solid numbers across the board. Again, will that hold? I'm not quite sure, but we'll take it as long as we can get it. Only 2 home runs, allowed over 21 and a third. With that movement skill, I'm probably not going to hold at that rate. If I had to guess, it'll probably be above 1 by the time our next video rolls around. Neverauskas, who I said before was probably going to regress a little bit, has, but still really excellent numbers. An ERA under 2, 29 strikeouts in 23 innings, only 2 home runs allowed, so continues to get really good play from Neverauskas. Next couple of guys here not doing quite as well. Stephen Brault ended up coming back. He was injured and was off his rehab assignment. I almost sent him down, but I want another lefty, another long relief guy. 10 innings here, so relatively small sample size. Does have a start as well as an emergency starter, but he's been okay. And Brubaker, he may be getting close to getting sent down here. I'm not sure. Michael Fleece will come back in the relative near future. Brubaker's kind of regressed to some degree. Only allowed 1 home run, but still ERA getting close to 5. So we'll think about what to do with Brubaker. And Weeman has been solid as well. 3.8 ERA, 21 innings. Pretty happy with that overall. Okay, to start with the draft here. Again, we are picking 7th overall. First time drafting here with this new scouting system. We'll see what we can get. I think our draft budget, I changed it. It's around $9 to $10 million. You see, I guess, is the projected slot for the 7th overall pick. So we'll see. I don't really know exactly what direction we're going to go. It depends on how the board falls. Obviously, mock draft here has been relatively unchanged from the last time we looked at it. Austin Martin still projected to go #1 overall. I would love to get Austin Martin if it was possible. But I like Jimmy Glowinski here, and some of the other names we looked at and talked about. I think we'll have a good option at #7, regardless of who falls to us. So we don't have a game today, or we do have a game today, but we'll deal with that later. So let's just go ahead and start the draft, and we will auto draft until the next pick by Pittsburgh. That's a nice button to look at. Alright, so Gonzalez just went off the board. Let's see the history so far. Okay, I found the draft log. That took a lot longer than it should have been for me. But okay, draft order here. Austin Martin did go #1 overall. Lacey, the starting pitcher, I was really high on too. I think that's going to be a great pick there for Baltimore. Walker, Torkelson, Hancock, and Gonzalez. So we are up here and see what we have to do. Let's see what our options are. Let's see what our scouting director recommends to start. He's going to recommend Jared Kelly, who we have looked at as starting pitcher. High school arm, always unpredictable. The controls naturally low. Will that changeup develop? That's going to be the question and the concern. You do see high work ethic, high leader, high adaptability. Those are all positive signs. Also have to consider price. His bonus demand is $11.5 million. So I think that's going to rule out Jared Kelly, because that is, I believe, more than our entire budget for the draft. I don't know exactly what the number is. I don't think it's $19 million, but let's ignore our scouting director recommendation, and let's see here. Let's sort by default, just overall highest potential, and they're saying Glowinski, the second baseman, who we have looked at here for a long time. High adaptability, does have high greed, but that's okay. 20 years old, from Dallas Baptist. Should be really easy to sign, really low bonus demand, so he's an option, a strong option. I should have. We looked at Chase Davis as well. Do want to carry over a Moneyball approach to the draft. Look at guys who are going to get on base. Look at guys with avoid K ratings that are high, and then later on in the draft, find guys that are good at something, whether that's speed, whether that's defensively with the glove, guys with high work ethic, high intelligence. Those are the ones that have the best chance of succeeding. So I think we got Glowinski. Wallace was interesting, but again, the avoid Ks. He does have a good work ethic, so he could develop there as a third baseman, another high school guy. Should be, it's extremely hard to sign, but his bonus demand is low. So that really shouldn't be an issue to sign. We did talk about guys like Patrick Bailey, who I really liked. As a catcher, it's hard to find catchers that even have a decent bat, neat profiles as such. Good defensively, high work ethic. Could develop. Is he going to be worth it at #7, though? I don't know. Mick Abel is another guy I liked. High school arm. Good velocity, already 18 years old, throwing up to 97. It's going to have to be a big development project, no doubt about it, but I think some good numbers here to start. So I think it's kind of coming down to Mick Abel. We did look at Nick Bisco, too, who I do like, but I think we're going to come down here to Mick Abel versus Jimmy Glowinski, the second baseman. I think of all the guys that I've been looking at on my short list. Oh, this is a tough one. Give me a second here, guys. Let me kind of think about it, and I'll come back with my decision. Alright, guys. I'm back with my decision, and looking closer at Abel versus Glowinski, I realize Abel is asking for $9.5 million. Again, do not have the money for that. So we're going to go with Jimmy Glowinski. Again, one last look at him. Should be relatively cheap, but 20 years old, so not 22. He's got some time to develop. But again, with our Moneyball approach, let's start with our Moneyball approach here. Guys that are going to get on base. He did that last year, 403, although I think these numbers are pretty cosmetic and don't always align with the scouting report. But if he can hit these numbers, he's never going to be maybe an all-star, but a really, really solid player. Defensively, should be pretty strong. I'm happy with that, and so we're going to go with Jimmy Glowinski here at pick #7, and we are going to meet the demand. I've offered slot in the past, and I realize that's probably a bad idea, so we're going to go ahead and meet his demand. Okay, let's go ahead and get into our next pick. I think we have a bonus pick, whatever they call it here, for the first round. Alright, so we are auto-drafting, and let's check out the draft log here briefly, see kind of where everyone else went. Okay, Mick Abel went at pick 9. Nick Bitsko went. Patrick Bailey went at 18. We looked at Bailey pretty close. Really considered him as well. Drew Roma was a catcher we did like a whole lot. I looked at him really closely, just for the kind of a poor man's Austin Hedges. So that's off the table. Alright, so let's see what we do have as opposed to what we don't have. And right now, I bet he's going to recommend Chase Davis, which I might take here. Yes, he's going to recommend Chase Davis, our scouting director. But again, I'm worried about him just on the strikeout. So, do we want to go with Chase Davis? Do we want to go with somebody else? Again, to kind of stick with that Moneyball approach. He is relatively cheap, which is going to be important. Do also still have Caden Wallace there at third base, and I know you want to take pitchers too. If you can get pitchers, then the more the better. Flores here, 17, no velocity. I don't know where the upside exactly is going to lie with him, although that would not be a terrible pick, but I just don't know what the ceiling is there. Also looked at Nate Stevens, this catcher, again kind of with that Moneyball approach. Should be easy to sign. Let's see what the starting pitching looks like, because we definitely want to make sure we don't ignore that. Got Max Carlson, who we have not really scouted. Will that changeup develop? There's also Andrew Abbott here. Yeah, this one's tough. Abbott looks decent. Again, I like guys that have a variety of pitches instead of just 3, but he is 21. If he was a high schooler with these numbers, then I'd be more interested. Probably not, though. He's already 21. How much is he going to develop? Will he develop in time, or was he going to be 26 still trying to figure it out? So, again, I think give me a couple minutes, guys. I'm going to have to sort through these things, and I'll come back with who we're going to take here with our next pick. Alright, guys, I spent way too long going back and forth, going through like 10 different names here. I think we're going to settle on Nate Stevens, the catcher. Again, I like the on-base percentage. Hopefully he improves defensively a little bit. Leader, work ethic. Again, it is so hard to find catchers with any sort of bat ability. I think this is a guy that really has a chance here, only 19 years old. I mean, those are good numbers for someone that's only 19 years old, a JUCO freshman right now. So it came close between him and Chase Davis. I went back and forth on this one a lot. But we're going to go here with Nate Stevens again, pretty cheap as well. It's going to help us out financially. So we're going to go ahead and meet the man and draft. Let me actually double check the durability too, I guess, if that's on there. Okay, it's normal. That's good. And we're going to go ahead and meet the demand here. Alright, we're sitting here in the second round, and Chase Davis is still there, so I'm betting that'll be the same recommendation. It's kind of hard to go against him now because we had debated about this one so much, and I didn't know who was going to fall. It would be Davis or Stevens. Stevens, by the way, looked pretty good from OSA's view of it, so I think we're probably going to go Davis here. Again, I want to just kind of go through the list because I'm very thorough about this. I'll be back in 2 seconds, and we'll go with our selection here. Okay, we are going to go with Chase Davis, hopefully focus on starting pitcher for the next round, but let's go ahead and meet the demand on Chase Davis. Again, one last look at his profile. 18 years with that kind of power potential. That is attractive. I think the eye discipline in the avoid case isn't the best, but it's not going to be the worst either. The gap cap power is unusually low, but somebody I think that maybe we end up trading him if he develops from the prospect, even if we don't like the on-base percentage stuff, but I think we're going to go young here and go with Chase Davis. Alright, auto sim to the next round here, and I think we lost a lot of our starting pitchers that we had looked at, and that hurts. Maybe I should have went with a starting pitcher there. The couple guys I was looking at, they do appear to be off the board, and now we're left with a lot of guys who probably aren't quite as impressive with Andrew Abbott. Is there anybody here on my short list that I looked at? Looks like one guy here with Butcher, who's 18, the fly ball pitcher. Gonna be pretty expensive though, so give me a second, let me look over the names and we'll come back with our pick. Alright guys, I went back and forth again on this one so much. It is still, I haven't decided yet. It's coming down to 2 players. Andrew Abbott, because we haven't drafted a starting pitcher yet. He's the best one available, 21 years old. Is the movement going to be there? Is the control going to be there? Stamina is low for a starting pitcher. If stamina was higher, I'd probably heavily lean towards taking Abbott. There are some decent numbers there for sure. Or Daniel Cabrera, the left fielder, who I've looked at late in this process. Again, that Moneyball mentality. I think someone that can get on base on a really high clip, high work ethic. I think, again, impressive numbers for somebody coming out of college. Went to LSU, a good school. Neither guy's going to be too expensive, so it's coming down to these two. And I want to figure out which direction I want to go. And we go with Abbott, the lefty. We go with Cabrera, who bats and throws lefty. Again, money's not going to be an object here. Both are pretty cheap. Oh man, guys, let me know in the comments who you would take between these two players. I've gone back and forth because I don't think either are going to be available by the time my pick comes up next. I'm going to go, and this is me making the decision here in real time, I'm going to go with Abbott just because it's harder to find pitching than it is going to be to find an outfielder that can get on base at a pretty decent clip. I think it's easier to be able to find, so I might regret this one, but we're going to go here and draft Andrew Abbott. Alright, let's auto pick to our next time, and yeah, it looks like Cabrera is off the board, so I gotta find someone else, so I'll come back in a second. Alright guys, our scout recommends here Cole Carrick, who's a catcher that I've looked at and isn't terrible. We've already drafted a catcher, so I'm gonna go here. I was debating between a couple of starters here, Delatry, Fall, another reliever we might look at here in a second, but I'm gonna go with Justin Fall, big 6'6", 215-pound kid from Arizona State, 20 years old, so room to grow here. I mean, never going to be a dominant top end of the rotation kind of guy, maybe number 4, number 5. Good curveball. The changeup may not develop. He's got other 3 pitches he can hang his hat on, 94, 96 miles an hour. Good enough stamina, just overall good profile, and throws lefty too, so that's not going to hurt. So we're going to go with Justin Fall. Let me check how much money he wants. Let's meet his demand and not offer slot, because I can't see what that is there, and Justin Fall's our pick. So motoring on now into the 5th round. We'll go 10 rounds here, then I'll finish up the draft. I'll edit, pause and finish up the draft, and then come back and look at the rest of our draft class. Let's see if that guy we were going to take is still there. I don't think so, so I got to find someone else. Our scouting director recommends Carrick is still there, so we may take him. Let me think it over for a second and come back to you guys. Alright, went back and forth a little bit, but we're going to go with Cole Carrick here, what our scout recommends. Just to have a catcher, 18 years old. Again, these numbers fill out. Is he going to be good enough with the glove? I mean, that's going to be a concern, but, we're getting in the 5th round here. No one's going to be perfect, so we're going to go ahead and meet the demand, which is just above his slot, and draft Cole Carrick. Alright, here, 6th round. I think we're going to go with one of these starting pitchers. I'm trying to find... If you try to focus on high schoolers, obviously this guy's going to want way too much money. He wants $6 million. That's not going to happen with me, and apparently not with the rest of the league. Someone like Kate Austin, only 18 years old. Is he going to develop? It's always a concern, but that doesn't look bad. I might take a flyer on Kate Austin. I also looked at Bond in here, but he's older, 21 years old. Will everything develop in time? That's going to be the concern there. And Brokoff is in a similar boat at 20, but he's about to turn 21 years old as well. Low intelligence. I don't love that. Will that change it develop adequately enough? Probably not. Going to probably make him a bullpen guy at best. Let's see what our scouting director recommending Taylor Smith, another catcher. I think I've taken enough catchers already to start this thing. So I think we're going to go ahead and try to go with Kate Austin here, a flyer on high school arm, and see if it works out with 4 pitches that could become decent. So let's get Kate Austin here and draft him. And we have to pay a little bit more, but we spent really cheaply in our first pick, so we need to spend a little bit more to get someone like Kate Austin. I'm comfortable with that. Alright, here in the 7th, we're going to auto pick Ducate, the shortstop. That one looks decent. I don't know I guess we studied him pretty closely. Let me look over the list, and we might take this guy, though. Alright, we're going to listen to our scout here and go with Ducate. Not quite sure how to pronounce his name, but again, I like these numbers. Only 19 years old. Does have a high work ethic, and maybe decent enough defensively, where second base, shortstop potentially. We'll see where he wants to fit best. I'm not quite sure, but if it gets to that point we're asking those questions, then things have probably gone well, so we're going to go and draft him. And we're in the 8th round now. Let's see who our scouting director recommends. Sam Brown, big first baseman. Probably not going to be our guy. Yeah, probably wants too much money. Let's go find someone else. Alright, we had looked at this guy before, Brett Brokoff. Nearly had taken him. Still on the board. About to turn 21, so a little less than ideal. I try to go with some high school arms here and just see if anyone develops. Low intelligence again, not the best, but decent stuff. Might become a bullpen arm, maybe a back end of the rotation type starter with a curveball that's pretty good, almost filled out already. So we'll take a flyer here on Brokoff. 9th round, scouting director still recommending Sam Brown. Let me find who we're going to take, because we're not taking, well, I don't know, Sam Brown probably just 17. I mean, young, but I don't know, he's going to strike out too much. I just don't see it with Sam Brown right now. So let's find someone else, and I'll let you know who I pick. Alright, in the next round here, we're going to go with Alika Williams, who's going to be kind of a slap-hitting shortstop. Again, good eye, good discipline, 21 years old. Not going to hit for any sort of power, but decent defensively, good speed. A little bit more money than I'd like to pay, $270,000 as his bonus demand. So another Arizona State, I think that's the second Sun Devil we drafted. Let's take a flyer on him. Alright, 10th round, and this will be the last one, then I'll take a break in the video, finish out the draft. I think we're at 35 rounds. I forget which one we're at, and we'll go back and recap the rest of the draft. They still may take Sam Brown. That's just not going to happen. I'm not going to pay that $400,000, I don't think. I'll come back with my answer. Alright, running out of good options here. We're going to take a chance on Joe Boyle, who touches 100 miles an hour. The control is really poor, I know, but he might be someone that can at least get a lot of strikeouts. Again, I wish these guys were a little bit cheaper, $270,000, but we'll live with that. I'm probably complaining too much, so we'll go ahead and draft Joe Boyle. Okay, after that, I'm going to take a break in the video. We'll come back with the whole draft class, and I'll recap the rest of the guys you haven't seen. Alright guys, just wrapped up the 2020 MLB draft. Showed you the first 10 picks. Now we're going to go through 11 through 30. 11th round here with Nathan Webb, this catcher, mainly for the defensive ability and the high work ethic, high intelligence. Those guys have better odds of paying off as opposed to somebody who lacks those traits. The bat is obviously poor, but I'll take good defense at this point. And I'll have to assign everyone to the league because the game doesn't do that very effectively. Jovan Gill here, just trying to get a run on starting pitchers. A lot of fly ball pitchers in this year's game. That is frustrating. Not a lot of neutrals even, and certainly very, very few ground ball, extreme ground ball types. So I don't know if that's something different, but I'm not a big fan of that. Versatile, maybe something with a bat, potential conversion player. Only 18 years old, with some decent pitches already developed. Obviously shot in the dark, but I'm not too mad about that one. Here in the 13th round, Tyler Acosta in center field. Doesn't say he has high work ethic or high intelligence, but the fact his personality generally seems to indicate that. Improve his knowledge of the game usually signals some level of intelligence for a 13th rounder. For a 19-year-old, somebody that's pretty well-rounded overall defensively and with the bat. I'm pretty happy about that. And McCaffrey here in the 14th round, didn't draft a lot of first basemen. This one is a guy that's probably going to strike out a whole lot, but the power's there, 21 years old, fly ball hitter, extreme pull hitter, maybe he hits a couple of dingers, so we'll take a chance on him. Zach Grech, I don't know exactly how to say his last name. I think the only extreme ground ball pitcher that I was able to uncover, which again I think is a little unrealistic in this game. Really good control, movement, not going to strike many guys out. The pitchers aren't going to be powerful, but he was an extreme ground ball, a submarine pitcher. There's an advantage to that, so maybe just a specialty bullpen arm at 21 years old. Round 16, Beck Way, just somebody here that's just going to try to, blow by guys with stuff. 20 years old, the fastball, curveball can develop, pitches 95 to 97. Low work ethic, I know, very limited ceiling on him. He'd be, at best, maybe a quad A type player, low movement skills, but you can't get too picky here in the later rounds, and there is some good kind of just talent to work with. In the 17th round, Jeffrey Waters, another reliever, again, extreme fly ball, but again, personality seems to indicate that he might have some sort of intelligence, work ethic, adaptability to go with. So I took a chance on him. 16 years old too, actually. I've never seen a 16-year-older in the draft pool before. So somebody that's really developmental, might almost like borderline international complex player. But I figured let's roll the dice on him because he's 16 years old and he's throwing 91 to 93. Yeah, that's interesting. So let's give that one a shot. 18th round, Tyler Montoya. Again, a lot of relievers here. Just maybe someone ends up working out. A lot of high school arms. That's kind of the approach here in the later round. Just see if somebody happens to develop by that talent randomness factor. So same story with Montana. This guy's interesting. Luke Terbeek, Dutch. And I took him because he is a knuckleballer. And that's always interesting and kind of fun to see how those guys develop. Only 19 years old. Fly ball pitcher is not a great combination with low movement skills. But a knuckleballer, I think the only one with a circle change too, by the way. I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe he's an ex-R.A. Dickey, Tim Wakefield, former Pirate way back early in his career. And the 20th round, going back to the bats with the shortstop here, Brandon Bonning, I guess is how you say his last name. Potential seems pretty high by my head scout and OSA, I guess, relative to where we're at here in the draft. Some power, we'll see if anything works out there. In the 21st round, Matthew Corlo in center field. Some versatility, decent defensively, maybe a well-rounded skill set on the high end of things. Again, focusing on just a lot of high school guys and just see who we can get lucky with here. 19 years old in the next round. 21-year-old Marcos Castanon. Just defensively look good. The bat looks pretty meager. Not gonna lie about that. But yeah, just taking a shot there. Hernandez in the 23rd round at short. Yeah, I'm not even sure why I took him, to be perfectly honest with you at this point. I forget what my rationale was. Not really good in any one area, but 18 years old, so I think you're just kind of taking a chance. Where are we at here? 24th round, John McMillan. I think I had him in my old 19 save. Again, a guy that throws heat, 22 years old, a little bit older. The control is obviously horrendous. I think he can kind of hit, too, a little bit with some power. I think he was like a first baseman in my old game. Is he a first baseman here? Yeah, a little bit of first or third base. So probably going to keep him as a pitcher, a power pitcher. I don't know if we're going to get a whole lot out of him, but we'll give it a shot. This guy took Trevor Tinder because I had him in my 19 save team, my first ever draft class. Because his age, he was the oldest player in the draft, so I've taken the youngest player in the draft, the oldest player in the draft. And he actually kind of overdeveloped, and made it to the majors very briefly. So a little nostalgia pick here, but 25 years old, but high leader, high loyalty, high work ethic. At the very least, somebody in the minor league system that's a leader will help probably team chemistry and team morale for some of the minor league teams because they generally don't win too many games. So maybe we'll kind of be a glue guy in the minor leagues. 26th round here, Jurgen Switzer, a couple of I got a lot of Dutch guys here. Fly ball again, don't like that tendency of it with low movement, but 19 years old, throws pretty hard, couple of good pitches. The changeup's more developed than you would expect for many pitchers in this game, especially somebody 19 years old. So we'll see what he can do. And Will Klein, another reliever. Took him because he throws hard, 98 to 100. I think like the guy we took earlier, Boyce, I think was his last name, Boyle, one of the two. Fastball, curveball, good stuff. Horrible control, but maybe we'll just strike a lot of guys out. Yeah, compare him to... Who was the guy we took earlier? Yeah, in the 10th round, Boyle, also through 98 to 100. Very similar profile, but you get him much, much later. 3 more picks to check here. Spencer Myers in center field for the eye. Being pretty high here. One of the smartest players for the high intelligence. Total dart throw, but at least he does have good eye. Again, drafting late, find someone that does at least one thing good. He's pretty good defensively. Certainly has potential for the eye and to get on base. Flores here. This was the impossible guy that was rated really highly. I just wanted to take him just because I wanted to at least say that, hey, I drafted this guy. I have no intention to sign him. He's going to cost way too much money, but I did want to just say that, hey, I drafted one of the better prospects, at least according to the game. And in the 30th round, the final pick here, Landon Knack, a starting pitcher. Kind of developed, but you would expect that at 22 years old, does not throw very hard. He may be a conversion guy, maybe a first baseman. Actually, there's some interesting numbers here, so I'm probably going to switch him over to first base and see what he can become. So we basically have everybody signed. The only two we don't is Kate Austin in the 6th round, who we're probably going to be able to sign because we went way under budget here. You see the slot, $5.5 million essentially, $350,000. We're under slot here for almost all these guys in Flores who we're not going to even touch, not even going to attempt to make an offer to. So that is our draft class. That is the episode. We'll be back here probably maybe around the All-Star break, around the trade deadline. We'll see which way this thing goes for the Pirates. I might do a video right before the trade deadline so you guys can get some input. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys would like to see in the next video. If you want it at the trade deadline, after the trade deadline, kind of let me know what you want the video to be. And what you would like to see in the next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you soon.